Okay, I shall start. So this is Michalis Dokianakis. I'm a software engineer and I work for Deutsche Telekom Innovation Hub. And today we are going to talk about our journey through our project, how and which challenges we face throughout this process. We're going to start speaking about what is Magenta Voice, why it's there, which value we provide to our customers. We're going to speak about the smart speaker, which was the initial device that we can see here that we started working on. We're going to speak about one specific use case, about the introduction of new touchpoints in our platform and the extension of the scope, and about new opportunities that were provided by it through B2B cooperations, and we are going to summarize with what we consider through our experience as a development of a clean Vocification platform. So by starting with our project, which is called Magenta Voice, I guess every one of you have used at one point a voice assistant like Siri or Alexa. So this is more or less what Magenta Voice is. It's a cloud-based voice service and acts as a personal assistant for our customers. And as Deutsche Telekom, we really believe that it's part of our vision that the natural language is the natural way for a human to interact with the digital world. And as this digital world becomes more and more complex with more devices and service that they are offered, it becomes essential that we have an easier way, more natural to interact with it. Initially, what we had was a smart speaker that could be basically installed at the home of a user, and an application which managed the speaker. So what we did is that those devices were running firmware, and we had a backend to support like those devices, which included registration, remote configuration. We had capabilities for pushing notifications to them and so on. But I guess the most interesting stuff about our product is not like how the backend worked about those devices, but I guess it's how this natural language understanding of the platform was taking place. And in order to explore that, we can try by discussing about a situation where the user is asking about the weather. And what we are supposed to do, let's assume that there is an API service which is able to return the weather details if it's provided with the correct REST call, let's say, and we need somehow like to connect like the voice of the user to this API service. So the first thing that we need to do in the platform is that we need to turn the audio to text. So after we have done that, we need to identify what the user is speaking about, understand the domain of the user query, and then to specify what is exactly the intent. So the user is speaking about weather, and what exactly he's speaking about weather forecast at a specific time in a specific city that happens to be our location right now. And then somehow we need to map like this interface with the actual REST call with all the details, include authentication, tokens, whatever it's needed to make this request. And let's say that we get a result from this weather API that it's sunny, like 28 degrees. And of course, we need to turn this text again to speech. So we stream back like the sound back to the device, and the device provides the response. So what we saw there that most of those components are reusable for any different domain, different client you can support and so on. And what is just missing is that we need to provide the appropriate training data in order to train each module separately. So we saw that, for example, like we can introduce a new touch point that's supported by different backend or a different completely system. For example, like here we have a remote control unit of a TV, and the user is asking to increase the voice volume, and we see some of the modules interacting again. So we have again utilization of the platform as a service. So in this case, we can notice that, for example, the text-to-speech is missing. So it was important to provide with the platform the flexibility to customize those pipelines, because there can be different modules interacting depending on the use case and the client that we are using. So this provides us with the opportunity to go with the voice platform as a service and to extend the scope of our project to be able to support also B2B use cases and help our customers to actually voicify their services. So more or less, we ended up in an architecture like that, where in the middle we have the platform, which handles the voice processing, the NLU, the analysis stuff that they're common, and they are useful for the enablement of the voice service. And we managed to adapt like different kinds of touch points. Some of them would need, like some specific adaptation. For example, like if we want to introduce, we are going to enable like an automatic IVR system, we would need an IVR adapter in order to be able to speak with the telephony protocols and so on. And decoupled, like we have there, the services that can be deployed individually. So before that we saw like there was this weather API, like anyone could enable through this Vocification process to map like the voice to the services that they are provided, which shouldn't be developed by us, of course. Like it can be like a B2B partner that there is a backend that we want to integrate with us. So what it needs to be done is just to adapt the mapping between like the intent data that we are training with the appropriate services that serve the specific service. So to summarize like this topic, we can say that a clean platform, a clean Vocification platform that can be used as a service by multiple tenants, different clients, provides like those two main core functionalities. So on the left, let's say we have something like the runtime of the platform. So the platform needs to interact with voice to make this natural language understanding, to invoke the services that actually we want to involve. And on the other side, on the circle on the right, we need to provide a way for our customers to improve the models, to train them, to annotate the existing data, to analyze. So this runtime of the platform is improved. So to summarize, like we have, the platform needs to enable the orchestration of the voice pipeline, to customize it according to the needs of the given tenant, to enable the analysis of the logs and the improvement of the models taking place in the pipeline. And we need to avoid couple the platform with the clients, so we need to avoid to introduce client logic in the clients, as multiple clients can use the platform at different times. And needs to be also agnostic of the services that we actually voicify. So in this example with the weather query, this weather API mustn't be inside the platform, but needs to be an external service that is developed independently. So that was all from my side, and I guess we have some time for questions. Yes?
Is there any limitation to the voice commands that the user can give to device? Like there is some certain use cases or a limit?
Actually, there is not a real limit. As if you want to introduce a new functionality, what you have to do is like to provide training data to the platform and train the platform to understand these new commands, these new invocations. So it's a matter of providing the data and train the platform to be able to understand what you want to say. Yes?
Actually, this reminds me a lot of how Alexa works. And my main concern is that, and I would like to ask you, is that do you send audio or do you actually transcribe the audio on the device and you send the words, the transcript to the main server?
Yeah, actually, initially with the smart speaker approach, we were streaming the audio, but it can be as we support like a customized pipeline. Both approaches are applicable. I mean, you can, if you have a client that supports speech to text, you can actually invoke the platform with text. However, I think with the speech-to-text functionality in the platform, you have the flexibility that you can train the platform to understand domain-specific language. I mean, for example, the word God is a word in English, but a user can also mean Game of Thrones, if you're talking about movies, smart TV, and so on. But we support both clients. I mean, in some cases, if you want to train a chatbot, the ASR functionality doesn't have any meaning. Okay, so I don't see any other questions. So, of course, like if something comes up later, you can speak to us in the booth of Deutsche Telekom. So thanks a lot.